Hey, this is Alexa Peterson with the Hitting Vault. I'm going to be doing a swing analysis on Tim Beckham. This past weekend, he hit 2 home runs off of Chris Sale, one of the best pitchers in the MLB, and so we're going to take a look at both of these pitches. One is an outside pitch, and one is an inside pitch. The one here on the right is in, and the one here on the left is outside. So this, the one on the right is a little bit harder to see his body positioning going towards the ball. The camera was actually zoomed in a little bit, so this is as far out as we can see. The one on the left, though, you'll be able to see a little bit more of his body positioning going towards the ball here. So looking over here at the right, on the right, we can see that as he's turning that barrel. It's not so much as he's throwing his hands towards it. We actually just put out a video today of Coach Lyle talking about top hand and bottom hand isolation. So like using one hand to swing the bat, doing top hand and bottom hand. And what we don't want to do is have our knob pushed towards the ball and pushing our hands forward. We actually want to have our torso and our core and our lower half all turning the barrel, turning it behind us rather than pushing towards it. So you can really see here his body turning, and he's not pushing his hands. He's turning the barrel behind him. And what you'll notice too, the biggest piece that we're going to kind of look at is his elbow. So that elbow right there is really close to his side, and that gives you an indicator that this is an inside pitch more that he's hitting. And so we want to make sure as you're going towards an inside pitch, that back elbow has to be in closer to you, because the further out it gets, that would be more of the mechanics that would hit for an outside pitch, which we'll see here on the left in just a second. So you can really see that elbow being close in towards his body there. Right at contact, something to note, he's hitting the bottom half of the ball. A lot of people think that you have to hit, square directly right in the middle of it, and that's fine. That sometimes that'll work. That'll be a line drive. But in order to hit balls in the gaps and home runs, you have to hit the bottom half of the ball, right there. So we don't want to hit this bottom quarter. We don't want to hit the top quarter. Ideally is to be able to hit right in the middle. Sorry, not the middle, the bottom half of the ball. Now if we go over to the left here, we see the outside pitch. So we're going to see that elbow, that bottom hand elbow, working further away from his body. It gets to contact right there. So you can see the 2 different contact positions based off of if you're looking at his elbow. So right there versus right there. Very different positions. He's still palm up, palm down with his hands here. Palm up, palm down. But check out how close, literally how close that elbow is to his body. And that's one of the big differences that help elite hitters be able to adjust to in and outside pitches. As amateur hitters tend to do the same swing. Sometimes they have a tendency to always have their elbow tight into their body or always have it working far away. And you need to be able to adjust in versus out, just like Beckham is here. You can see that his arm is a little bit more outstretched here. Right there, that bottom hand elbow is a little bit straighter, and that's coinciding with that elbow being a little bit further away, so we can still barrel up this ball over here. Still hitting the bottom half of the ball right there. But yeah, really good mechanics. This is a great view to be able to see exactly how you can adjust to in versus out pitches. If we go over to the side view, move on here. So it's the same camera angle, which is a little bit slightly angled in. It's not exactly to the side straight on. It's a little bit angled in from the front. But this one is a little bit more zoomed in. This is a little bit further away, but it's still the same exact angle from each other. So if we go to contact point, gets to a contact point again. You can see him hitting the bottom half of the barrel. Go to contact point. Right there. These pitches are almost the exact same height too. They're the one on the right, that inside pitch, maybe is a little bit higher, like a ball or two higher, but in general they're kind of the same zone. So this is a really great video to be able to put side by side. So what we see here, what's interesting to look at is the contact point, because a lot of people think that outside pitches you're supposed to hit like way off by your back foot, like over here, way back here, and you don't want to do that. If you do that, that's going to be every ball is going to be foul. So you can see the difference here versus there. So it's just a couple inches. It's a little bit different. And so ideally on an inside pitch, you're going to hit it somewhere around your front. Again, this angle is slightly angled, a little bit angled in this way, but your good contact position is going to be right around the front part of your front foot, somewhere in this range on an inside pitch. Some hitters might be a little bit more out front. This inside pitch, you could kind of tell from the front view, was a little bit more middle in versus like definite inside corner. So you're going to see it maybe a tad bit deeper. If it was a really, really in pitch, you'd see him make contact a little bit further out front. But even on the outside pitch here, you see it's a little bit deeper than where he was making contact with that inside pitch. You can see here going back the bat path that he takes to get there. You can really see that back elbow drops in tight right here to his body. Gets to contact point right there. I've heard it described before, inside versus outside contact and how to get there, similar to like an ice skater. So if you imagine an ice skater and they're jumping up and they're doing spins, in order for them to spin quickly, they end up pulling their arms in tight. If they try to jump and they want to spin slowly, they have their arms out really wide. So kind of a similar idea, you can think about it, not exactly obviously, but similar idea with hitting. In order for you to be able to be on time for an inside pitch, to get that barrel a little bit more out front, it's important to have that back elbow be working in closer to your body. Versus an outside pitch, you're going to see it work further away from your body. And then he goes and continues through extension, which is just, again, a byproduct of you turning the barrel, not pushing your hands. You can see his belt buckles towards the pitcher well before contact, and that's important. And that's a good kind of telltale of, are you pushing your hands? Are your hands going ahead of your hips, or are your hips and your core turning hard and then turning that barrel behind you to create a lot of bat speed to get to contact point? So overall, he's hitting really well right now. Only played 7 games, but he's hitting in the upper 400s. So we'll see if he can continue throughout the rest of the season. But based off of these mechanics, I mean, a really awesome swing. So looking forward to seeing him the rest of the season.